Hi.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit since we've been in here to record.
I know.
Life.
Finals are done.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
I bet that feels good.
Yes.
This little treat is delicious.
You like it?
I do. Tell me again how to say it.
Matcha. Matcha latte.
Matcha latte.
Yes.
It looks disgusting. But I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Mine's almost gone.
Nice. So we might have to take a break to get a refill.
Yeah, we might have to later. Yeah, thanks for
Mine's
making
not
this.
Because I'm such a slow drinker.
Yeah, we've discussed this.
Yes.
I am not.
Oh my gosh. Have we talked about, now that school's done and I've had a little bit more time to like watch my shows.
Yeah, good for you.
Read my books. First of all, I feel like I'm way
do
far
we
away
need
from
to?
you. Well, I just feel like I was turned away from you.
Oh.
Okay. Do you remember that movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I loved that.
Yes.
Why did I stop watching it?
I don't know.
It used to be on repeat for me.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah.
You don't watch a lot of movies.
No, but that was
one was one of them?
That was one of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, have you been watching the new series?
There's a series?
Yes.
What?
Amazon Prime has come out with a Mr. and Mrs. Smith series.
Who's in it?
Like no one I know.
Oh, okay.
But so good.
I mean, so it follows that same storyline then.
So, a little bit.
Okay.
So they know about each other from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
It's very sexy. And so what I think is going to happen is they get sent on these missions because they're spies or whatever. And so far they've had one failed mission and they were warned, like, that's a fail. You only have 2 left. So I think if they get 3, then they kind of get like hunted down.
Oh gosh, so they've got to get their shit together.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
spicy.
So good. Shoot, what is her name? I'm picturing her. I might have to Google the show because I did recognize her and I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen her in like forever, but she was so great in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to see what it was because Angelina Jolie, that's a hard one to live up to.
I know. And they have this great actress that's kind of the Jane, role. But it's so funny because, so they're, Jane and John Smith, just like in the show.
Okay.
And really randomly, because they're at a farmer's market, and he sees the credit card that this other guy is using, and he's like, wait a minute, that's like my credit card, spy credit card.
Got it.
And he's like, oh, hi, I'm John Smith. And he's like, I'm John Smith.
Oh.
So they're all either Johns or Janes.
Oh, I want a spy credit card.
I know. But yeah, so it's really good.
Okay, I'm going to put it on my list.
Yes.
I'm currently rewatching Modern Family.
Oh, nice.
Which is going really fast. I'm almost done with it because they're quick episodes when it's just on. So that'll be the next thing I watch.
At night, or if I don't want to like pay attention.
Yeah.
I'm rewatching Schitt's Creek.
Oh, I need to do that one too.
I know, it's so funny.
So funny. So good.
So good.
Which is funny, the episode that I just watched today of Modern Family had Catherine. Oh, what's the name? Hold on. You're judging me.
No.
What's her name?
No.
What's the mom's name? Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara.
There it is.
Nice.
In it. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I thought, I need to rewatch it. So
nice.
There's my sign.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, this episode, we've been getting all of our ducks in a row for.
Yeah.
Because it's like kind of how we started the podcast. It was like, we're going to run a half marathon.
Yes.
And we have ran a half marathon.
We have done it.
So I can't wait to talk about it today.
I know, it's going to be so good.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
This is Run in Her Shoes podcast with Amber
and Robin,
where we talk about balancing life, work, and running.
As busy moms juggling life, we want to provide a community where we encourage taking time for your mental and physical health on your running journey.
Join us weekly as we talk about our favorite races, gear, and goals as amateur runners, 1 mile at a time. Okay, well, we had a fun trip to Moab.
Yes.
And a lot of things that we're going to talk about on top of, like, the race itself. Like, Moab was a whole experience.
Yes.
So, thanks for letting me tag along.
It was fun to have you in the car because, we hauled the fifth wheel, but then we definitely wanted to take the Jeep. So, either I would have been in the car alone with my kid, which, love you, but, you know.
Well, can I just say, though, your kiddo, my sweet nephew, was so good for that drive when he was in it with us. Like, my boys get in the car and we go for 20 minutes and they're like, this is taking forever. And Jack didn't have a single complaint the whole time. He was so good.
Yeah.
He's just very quiet.
Yes.
I'm used to chaos in the backseat.
No, he's a really good passenger, but just not like your kids complaining, but it just reminded me when I was getting ready to come, you know, and my text to you was like, I'm hoping to leave by 7:30, but it just, we'll see how long it takes because, like, Jack's going to drag his feet.
Yeah.
And I had my phone, like, sitting out and Jack read it.
Oh, no.
He was like, what does this text, like, mean? And I was like, I'm just letting Aunt Amber know, like, I'm going to be on my way soon. He was like, but what does it mean that I'll be dragging my feet? Because we'd say it's bedtime and all of a sudden you have all these things to do and to ask us and it takes forever.
And now you know what I think about you at bedtime. Poor guy. Well, he was fantastic on the trip.
Yes.
I haven't had, like, that much solo time with just him before, so I enjoyed that. And I was so worried about the weather. I had been, like, totally refreshing my weather app all the time the week leading up to, wondering what it was going to be because the weather had been pretty unpredictable, and at first it was showing all this wind and then it was like rain, and I thought, oh great, we're going to be running this in a downpour. And even the drive there, we drove through snow. It was like a blizzard. Crappy roads, really, to get there. So I was just like, what's it gonna be? But really, we got into Moab for the afternoon, and it was overcast, but it was okay.
I didn't check the weather till, like, the day before.
How did you refrain from doing that?
I don't know. I'm terrible anyway, like, here. I never check the weather. I just open my eyes every morning and just, I guess it's going to be like this, which has bit me in the butt sometimes when I send Jack to school and it's like, then in the afternoon I'm watching, like, the rain or the snow come down and I'm just like, oh, oops, my poor kid. But I didn't even think about checking the weather until at work people were asking me about the weather and I was like, oh, maybe I should look that up.
Oh my gosh. And I was fretting about it, like, the whole week leading up to it. I was so anxious about it.
I was, like, in an appointment and the doctor was like, what's your weather supposed to be like? And I just thought, Moab, like, it's probably pretty nice, right? So I was just like, yeah, really decent. Like, I'm supposed to have, like, really good weather. Like, I just made up a forecast because I didn't want to look like an idiot.
And the weather changes all the time, so you just could have been like, oh no, the weather was just predicted wrong. Yeah, well, it ended up being fine. It was just overcast. It was not scorching hot, which, hallelujah.
Yes.
I'm so glad we did not have to run in 80, 90 degree heat.
Yes, because, I mean, let's be honest, it says Thelma and Louise half marathon, but it needs to say Thelma and Louise half trail marathon.
Lady, I did an entire deep dive into this half marathon at the beginning of this podcast series, and I knew that it had an elevation gain. Nowhere did it say you will be climbing boulders, basically.
Right, yeah.
Missed that detail.
Yeah.
Or I just overlooked it and didn't want to process it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and the pictures online were, like, one setting. Like, maybe one or two. But very, like, it wasn't, like, all over. And even when they were promoting it on social media, it was just kind of like maybe one or two pictures.
Yes, on,
so
like,
you're just
flat
kind of like,
red sand.
But it was all, like, open. You're not, like, tree cover. So yeah, I couldn't imagine if it was hot.
Oh, I'm so glad it wasn't hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and because we both left, remember, for the race, and it was like, oh yeah, we didn't put any sunblock on.
No, I packed sunblock.
Yeah, I did too. I bought a whole ginormous thing,
Yes.
like a bonus size for like,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
I think mine was like SPF 90 too.
Yes. Then I left and was like, okay, I guess I'm getting sunburned.
I know. And I didn't have any sunburn on me. Like, nothing on me turned red.
Yeah, I think I had a little bit of color, but just like, no, nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't needed.
Yeah.
So funny. But it was really nice to get there the night before, get settled in. There was the bib pickup. Mm-hmm. So we got to figure out where we were going, because there were camp spots around the trail area that you could totally just pick, camp for free. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure that, like, with your truck and fifth wheel setup, it would have been that accessible, honestly.
No. We would have been, like, in the very first campsite, like, right off the road.
Yeah. So we chose to stay at, like, an RV park. I say we, I mean my brother.
Yeah. Which was nice, because I kind of planned on, like, going and just being dirty, and, like, if I don't get to shower, like, whatever, it's just a quick trip, whatever, I just ran a half marathon, I get to be stinky.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to have that.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about that as we were driving up to get our bibs and seeing so many tent campers. I'm like, how do you guys do this? You're so hardcore. I am not in that regards. But yeah, to like not have any running water, like hot water to wash your face afterwards or whatever. So if you were out there camping,
kudos.
Yeah, props to you for sure. But we got our bib, and on the way there, you were like, oh, did you look up your bib number? Because they sent it out. And I was like, no, I was actually sorting through my 7,000 emails.
No, because I was looking at the weather.
But you were like, oh, you have a really cool one. And I did. So when we picked up our bibs and they were like, make sure to have your ID with you, they did not ask for, wait, did they?
They did.
Oh, wait, they did. They did.
They did, yes. I know. Every other race we've ever been to, you get your email that's like, bring your ID, and no one
checks it.
No one checks it.
This one, they wanted your bib number, and then they checked you against your ID.
Yes.
I wonder if that was strategic for some reason.
I mean, do they have a problem with people just showing up and, like, waiting to, like...
steal people's race entries?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Like, they go to the board and they find it and they go up and, like, oh, that one's already been taken.
Right. Like, oh, I meant...
Betty, someone.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go check again.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal was. But yes, they did ask for our IDs. Mm-hmm. That's right. I'm glad I had it. But yeah, my bib number was 2222.
Yeah.
Easy to remember. And when we were driving and you were telling me about it, did look up my number and we saw that, you said that it's a mirror number. Mm-hmm. So for any woo gals out there, we decided to look it up. And I mean, off of just like the first Google search that I found, maybe 2222 means something else depending on the website you look up. But with that mirror number, it means the higher powers are encouraging you.
Yeah.
So I thought that was so cool. And I kind of decided to take that energy in for my run. Especially because the huge rock that we ran around, which we'll talk about here in a minute, during the episode where we were doing like the full deep dive into the race, they said that area was somewhere that like the people, I don't know when, but in that area would worship their mother deity. So it's kind of like a spiritual area anyways.
For the indigenous.
Thank you.
People. Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
And you had a good bib number too. I still remember it. 2250.
I mean, it makes sense. It doesn't mean anything cool, but it's like a progression. I get it.
Yeah.
It's a flowy number.
It's a flowy number.
Yeah.
I need to go back and look at my other bibs because I have them all out and about and like see if any other numbers stand out, because before this one I never had.
Yeah.
So it was fun. Do you have any other numbers like on your bibs? Have you noticed?
No, not that any that was like, oh, I need to like look it up. But I only recently became aware of like angel numbers and mirror numbers.
Okay.
but also now Jack is aware of them.
Oh.
And so we'll be at dinner and he'll catch like the clock and he'll be like, that's a mirror number. He'll be like, look it up.
Oh.
So then we'll like look up what it means.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll track it for future runs and bibs.
I mean, your brother really likes that about his hippie wife, but that's okay.
I mean, yeah. Thank goodness our husbands are just like, yep, you do you.
Right,
seriously. You go enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. But, so we picked up our numbers. Mm-hmm. And then we just kind of drove through Moab, right? Like, we didn't stop that night at all. And then, we just went back and had our pre-marathon spaghetti dinner.
Yep. Had to carbo load.
Mm-hmm.
It was delicious. Thanks for cooking.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm. It was the first time we cooked on the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
I was like taking the plastic off pots and pans.
That's funny, figuring out how your propane gas works on the stove. Like, how do I light
Which,
this?
again, is like Jesse trying to relax on the couch because he just drove the fifth wheel 6 hours, and me and you are like about to blow it up.
I was
trying to turn on
I know. It makes me so nervous when those
know.
things don't light. And then I'm like, do I smell propane? No, I don't think I smell anything. Okay, I think we're good. Like, try and light it. But then I was also like, am I going to lose my eyebrows? Those would be awesome Reese pictures.
I know. But Jesse was just like, just click it or turn it or whatever he was saying over there. And I was like, we were just like, I don't know.
Well, we figured it out eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you go into the race like knowing exactly how you were going to fuel? Like, you had a plan for your breakfast and your fuel and everything for the race?
I think I was more focused on during the race than like breakfast was very much like, what do I have in my house? You know.
Yeah.
I tried to be conscious of like, I'm not going to have like cereal like I like to have. Mm-hmm. But, you know, so yeah, I end up just having a rice cake with some peanut butter. It doesn't matter the distance, the race, I always get nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Before.
Like nervous tummy jitters.
Yeah. And so I wasn't super hungry and and I don't eat breakfast on a regular basis.
Right.
So I was almost like forcing myself to eat. But, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I love my English muffins with peanut butter.
Yeah, do you love them so much? Like half toasted.
Well, I'll say the English muffin that I had in your fifth wheel wasn't like one of my top faves because we didn't have a toaster.
Yeah.
Which I asked, I'm like, do you have a toaster?
And I could totally see it. Like, it's in here, and I couldn't find it, and the whole trip the toaster was in the back of my mind. Like, I know it's in there. And then we got home and I found it by the back door that I was planning to put in the fifth wheel.
Well, so. I survived with my cold bready English muffin and peanut butter. It was still good. And then I was like, I don't like to eat apples like just whole. I much prefer to just slice them up and then also maybe dip them in peanut butter or whatever. And I was looking around for a steak knife, and they're like, we were trying to be quiet because Jesse and Jack were still sleeping, and I didn't want to keep opening and closing cupboards.
Because it was like 5 or 5:30 when we woke up?
Yeah, it was early. Our plan was to leave by 6. Right?
Yeah, up by 5.
I think, we were up by 5, so it was still dark. We were trying to be quiet, like trying to get this food in. But we made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, what was your plan going into fueling for the race? And then did you follow it and feel like it was good for what you had?
Yeah, so a gel right before. I had electrolytes in my bladder.
Okay.
And then I decided that just because the aid stations, the way they were spread out, I just kind of was like, well, I'll just take another gel or a snack or whatever at the aid station. So I didn't try to worry about like so many minutes or like whatever.
Yeah, you just knew like at the mile markers that they were there. Yeah. I did a gel right before. I did the UCAN gel. It was pineapple.
Oh.
It was okay. Not my favorite flavor, but it worked.
Yeah. I really like the Goo brand.
I just got some of those. I haven't ran a long enough distance yet to use them again, but when I do, I want to see how I feel with the Goo, because those even have caffeine in them. I haven't done any with caffeine.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then, my plan was just to do a Martin gel at mile 5 and mile 10. And then I had some Chewies. I'm trying to remember what they're called. Scratch energy chews that I used towards the end.
Nice.
Yeah, and it worked. But I, looking back, made a little bit of a mistake because I didn't want to put electrolytes in my bladders. I'm not great at caring for my bladders afterwards, and I didn't want them to be sticky.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring my non-flavored, non-sticky electrolytes. Anyways, so I was like, I'm just going to pour the electrolytes into a bottled water and then drink that on the way there. That filled up my bladder more than I would have liked.
Yeah.
Because when we got there, like, the sun was kind of just coming up. It was a really pretty view. I loved, like, watching the sunrise and everything. Parking lot was, like, almost empty. I felt like.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the parking to be that awesome when we got there.
Yeah, because I was like, our race time was 7:30. But I was like, Amber, we're leaving at 7. It takes, like, 20, 25 minutes to get there. But that road was really bumpy, and you have to go slow. And I was just imagining,
or leaving at 6. You told me we were leaving the trailer at 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leaving at 6. Because that road was really bumpy. Like,
and a few miles back.
Yeah. And I imagined, like, a huge line of cars to, like, get there. And that was not the case. So we made very good time.
Yes, we did. So we had lots of time to, like, soak it all in. Use the porta potties beforehand, because there was no line. Empty porta potties.
Yeah, that was so nice.
But then we went back to the Jeep and had to wait, like, another, 45 minutes before race time. And then once we got out to go kind of start warming up, the line by the porta potties.
Yeah. And how many porta potties would you say there were? A dozen?
Yeah, I was going to say 15. Okay. Like, a good amount.
Yeah. So many people. And we walked up, like, 15 minutes before the start. So long that we were just like, well, I guess.
It is what it is.
Yeah. We were like, either we have to go, or it's just nervous energy and we're fine. Yeah. But we took that chance and was just like, there's no way any of these people are making it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they could have just stayed in line and, like,
just started whenever they wanted to start.
Right. And your chip time would have been, it just would have been your chip time instead of, like, the clock time. So I don't know, but I was thinking the same thing. Like, it must just be nervous energy. And then I found out later it wasn't, but it's fine. But with the chips on our shoes, that was new. Yeah. Like, our bibs didn't have the tracking on it. Yeah. When we went to pick up our bibs, they gave us, like, these little, chips with zip ties. Yeah. To put on your shoe. Yeah. So, put those on, and, like, we had plenty of time to organize and get dressed and, like, decide what layers we were going to wear or not layers. Yeah. I ended up stuffing a jacket, like a rain jacket, into the back of my vest.
Oh my gosh. Probably that whole time we were in the car, it was like, do I wear my jacket? Do I not? Do I wear my long sleeve? Because I even had a light long sleeve to wear over my t-shirt. But yeah, it was just like, do I take that? And I knew that the photos were probably organized by your bib number. Oh. You know, when they take your photo, because that's how you looked up your photos at the end, was by your bib number. So it was like, okay, so do I put my number on my long sleeve?
I see.
You know, and then you have to, like, deal with that if you take it off. Like, yeah, it was just a lot. And then we just decided to forego.
Yeah, we're like, screw it. We're going to be fine. We're going to wear our tanks, short sleeves, shorts, and we're going to suck it up and be fine. Yeah. Because we were watching the weather build. It looked really dark in one area. And, like, I was, again, still obsessively checking the weather. Like, what's it going to do? And it seemed like it was going to hold. Yeah. And thankfully it did. Yeah. I was happy with the layers that I wore. I got a little bit of chafing around my sports bra on the side, like where my vest and sports bra were rubbing.
Yeah.
Like, actually, it took a while to heal. It was kind of sore back there. But other than that, it was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause us right here because I have to fart.
Oh, okay.
And pee. So I'm going to go do that.
Okay. We can take a quick break. You go do that as we're talking about peeing.
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking you were just going to rip one right here.
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
We're
close and all.
Not risk pooping my pants again. Okay. I only plan on doing that once in my life.
Check that off.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, well, we're back. All better.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So tell me what you thought about the start of the race, though. Like, we're all kind of getting in line and the announcer's talking.
Yeah. I was just trying to pay attention. I think sometimes I don't always pay attention.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're all the same, but
kind of like follow the signs. Okay,
yeah.
We will.
Yeah, like what else
Maybe.
am I gonna do? Right. But yeah, because she started in on kind of general directions. You're gonna leave here. You're gonna take a right. You're gonna blah blah blah. I loved though the collective reaction of you're gonna leave here, blah blah blah, and then she's like, you're gonna run around that rock, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, you saw every single runner's face.
Yeah.
Excuse me, we're going where?
Yeah. And it's funny because it's the race is 13 miles. How far away did we all think that rock was?
Right. I'm a horrible judger of distance.
No,
though.
totally. Obviously. There was everyone. That was the check mark when you signed up.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people that were like, where are we going? What the fuck? But looking back, it is very yeah.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the moment, you are just like, what? Yeah. But I think because you can tell how massive it is.
Yes.
And it looked so tiny.
Right.
So it just does give us illusion of what's happening.
Definitely. Yeah. I loved that though. I will always remember that moment.
Yeah. But yeah, she definitely, several times was follow pink flags, watch for yellow signs. Do not get distracted. Read the signs.
I'm going to tell you, I read the signs and I looked for the pink flags, okay? Yeah. And I heard her say that.
Yeah.
I'm just prefacing that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like we said, the title of the marathon should have included trail in there somewhere, and it was not. And instantly I realized oh shit. The first 2.5 miles were probably the hardest 2.5 miles I've ever ran in my life. It was a lot.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It was I don't know, over 1,000 feet of elevation gain in that very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And we're not talking just a big hill. We're talking rocks that you have to strategically think, where am I going to put my foot? What's kind of the path of least resistance to get around all of these huge rocks?
With other people.
Yeah.
You're running with other people and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like the race had really spread out much at that point. It was still a pretty big group of people at that time. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that. Mentally or physically.
Yeah, especially just right away. The first mile, I think, was okay, or most of the mile was okay.
Sure.
But yeah, like mile 2 and 3, I think, where it was like, what's happening?
Yeah, excuse me, what? And you know what's funny is John has an app called KNIX on his phone that he uses for hunting, and he can see like what the elevation gain is, and he can put like a marker here to here. And so like we were looking up the race like a month or 2 before, because he was asking about it, and we plotted it, and he was like, oh yeah, like that's gonna be pretty steep. And so, but in my mind I was like, oh, like I'll be fine.
Right. And what's pretty steep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Compared to a flat road.
Yeah. I was thinking like, well, okay, good to know. But then I do remember him being like, and then it'll flatten out, and then like there's a little bit more of an uphill, and then like kind of towards the end it'll be more downhill. So that was like my saving grace mentally, is I remember, okay, John said it's going to flatten out. It's going to get better. Like just keep going, and it's got to straighten out at some point. So that was like my thought, that this can't last forever. Yeah. Oh, and then on the way there, we were talking about like what shoes we were going to wear and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, it's not going to be like that technical, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't think anyone got hurt.
Right.
But very easily.
You could have twisted an ankle so easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad nobody slipped, fell. Also thankful that it wasn't wet on those rocks, because somebody would have totally fallen. It would have been me.
Yeah. You can tell, though, I think it was towards like the back half though, on the rocks, and you could tell it had rained
the night before.
Yeah, the puddles. So I think that helped with the dust and to keep everything cool.
You're right.
But because it's not like freezing cold there, everything like the rocks weren't slippery.
Yeah, I was very grateful for no slippery rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the first aid station was at mile 5. And that's where we were getting closer. Like, you could definitely see the big rock now. Like, you were pretty much there, right? Like, at the aid station. That's where you're starting to run around it. There was a porta potty there.
Yeah. No
line initially, but I was like, nope, I'm in it. I can't stop at mile 5. Did you kind of have the same thought?
I debated on stopping, but only like it's here. I should use it because it's here. But I didn't feel like I had to go enough to wait in line.
Right. Yeah. That was the thing too. I wish I would have, but
but no, I went on to the aid station and I had another gel because the porta potty was just up above the aid station.
Yeah.
So I went to the aid station, had another gel, had a bag of Lay's potato chips.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know like how to, this sounds dumb, but like how to eat solid food. I've never done that on a race with that. So I passed and I stuck with my goo. But, and the pictures were right before that first aid station too, which we've got our pictures back. I apparently was looking and feeling pretty miserable already at mile 5. I didn't love my race pictures, but it's fine. You had cute ones.
Mine were okay.
Yeah, yours were really good. Yeah, so I feel like in my mind at that point, I was like, okay, we've got through all the uphill. Things are looking a little better. At the beginning of the race, she said, you're going to run around that rock and come back. And I was like, okay, well, we're like at the rock, so things are getting better.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, there was a 3-way split in the road. I looked at all 3 options and I didn't see any pink flags or yellow signs. Okay. And the road that went to the right was bigger, like wider. And the other 2 seemed like a little bit more narrow. So like in my mind and just the way the split was, I was like, this is just the natural way to go. Also, I'm thinking of something right now. I heard once that like in stores, people build it for like the natural flow of stores is people generally turn to the right. Did you ever know that? It's like, it's a psychology thing with shopping. So they'll strategically place things to the right as you're going. I don't know. Think about that the next time you're at a mall or going into a new store, which way you turn.
Okay.
But people are more apt to turn right. So maybe I'm just trying to make excuses of why I turned right.
But I mean, like if you think about like our Walmart, when you walk in, the food is directly there on your left. The produce and vegetables are first thing right on your left. But things like clothes, electronics, or whatever is on the right-hand side of the store.
Yeah, it is. I've never been like, oh, I'm ready for some vegetables, turn left. I always turn right at Walmart. I don't know. Anyways, I also turned right on this three-way fork in the road. And so at this point, like everybody had kind of found their pace. You're in it. And I don't know about you. I was kind of running with like a little group of people at that time, you know, cheering each other on or whatever. Yeah. And there was this one girl in front of me and she goes, I get so nervous when I can't see people in front of me. And I was like, I kind of feel the same way because there was a straightaway. And so she took off because she was like trying to catch the people in front of her. Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't have the gas in me to fly that. Like, I'm going to keep going. This will be fine. So anyways, I decide to turn right because there's nobody else in front of me. I don't know. There's two other gals behind me. And like, I look and like they turn too. And I'm like, okay, like must be right. So we're going. And I kind of start realizing at this point, like I'm looking around, there's no footprints in the sand. Okay. I'm clearly not first in this race. And so it's like slowing down and looking around and like the girls are pulling their headphones down a little bit. Like, do you guys think we're lost? And then we quickly decided, yes, we're lost. We did not take the right turn. So we turned back around. But then like along the way, there's all these other different fingerlings of the trail. So we're trying to decide, like, should we have gone that way? Like, where did we turn wrong? Finally, we see runners in the distance going the complete opposite direction of us. And we were able to catch up with them. But I don't know, as I like think about it more, I just think that after getting up such that technical part of the trail and then getting to a more flat spot, like, I was starting to check out at that point. Like, just go into autopilot. Yeah. Anyways, I ended up running an extra 0.67-ish miles along with two other girls. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But were you, like, running around with a group?
There were, like, a couple groups that we were kind of leapfrogging. Yeah. But it was really funny because... I mean, I think we've talked about this before. I mean, I love that my first half was a women's only race.
It was awesome.
Like, it was just like a different vibe.
Totally.
And I will say that aid stations, there were male volunteers. Yeah. But everyone was super nice. They were... you know, cheering everyone on at the aid stations and like being really helpful and stuff. But along the race, it was nice. Just it had a different feel to it.
It did. It just felt like you were like running amongst your peers and your friends, and it wasn't like the big like macho energy about it. It was like an empowering energy, I felt like.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. But this group of women, at one point they were behind me, and it was hilarious because they started talking about like their birthing stories.
Oh yeah.
And so there was a lot of like placenta talk and like how long they bled afterwards and this and that. And one of them was like, yeah, now I only use like period underwear. And I went, oh my God, me too. Like, isn't it great? And so we're talking about it. And then this girl like ahead of us like turned around and was like, really? You guys like it? Like, we're like, we got this whole conversation. And it was like, yeah, this wouldn't happen like at any other race.
No, definitely not. Lots of strong female energy. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. The rest of the race, like, up until the last 2 miles, I feel like was kind of a blur for me. Like, I try and think back about it, and I just felt like it was it was challenging. Yeah. It was rough, you know, fun, good, all the things, but like I'm trying to remember like the rest of the miles up until like mile 11, and it was just like, I don't know, it was really hard. Yeah. And then my like watch too, after I got lost, then it was like a head game because I'm trying to figure out like how much farther to go. You know, you start playing like I only have a 5K left or whatever. Then I'm like, do I? Because I just ran that extra bit, and I think it was that extra bit because I didn't like look at my watch the second I got lost.
So you're like ahead
in mileage
to compared to like the actual routes.
Yeah. So I'm like, how much farther did I like? I had an idea at that point. Now I could go back and look now to say we ran that extra bit, but leading up to that, I had no idea how far we were off track. So I was just like, oh, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where the end is. But towards the end, it did start to get like more flat and more downhill, and I could like get my bearings again to say, oh, the finish line is down there. Like I know where I'm heading now, and it just made it so much easier to like, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to like, I guess, waste the experience either. Like, yes, you want it to be over because you're tired, but then at the same time, you're like, this is our first half marathon. Like, you want to take it all in. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know your fastest mile? Which one was your fastest?
It was towards the end.
I know.
Surprisingly. I'd have to look. What was yours?
Mile 11.
Mile 11. Fastest for you.
But that was those... there's a little bit of climbs, but there were more flat, more downhills. Yeah.
Yes, I was so grateful for some of those downhills, for sure.
Yeah.
That was nice. And then the last mile, like, I don't know. You could see the finish line. You could see where everything was at. It was like downhill. But then it was uphill.
I know. It was terrible to see that last... I mean, what do you think it was? Like a quarter? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can just see the uphill, and you're just like... And I didn't even think when we started that, like, oh, I'm going downhill. I'm going to have to go back up this.
Right. Because you had fresh legs at the beginning. You're like, you're looking ahead, not realizing what you're doing.
And so, and it was a pretty decent grade.
Yep. It sure was. Yeah. So yeah, I got uphill, crossed the finish line, and then I've never been stopped after a race. Like I've always been able to like walk through it, but they had people right as you crossed to clip the zip ties off your shoes because they wanted the chips back. And I was like, I was not ready to come to an abrupt stop at that time. The lady, like, I remember, I almost felt like she was like not pushing me, but you know, like had a hand like, whoa. Yeah.
Whoa, girl.
Yeah, I know. But it was so fun just to watch like groups of people crossing the finish line, like all the women standing around to cheer on maybe people they knew, people they didn't know, like all the pictures. It was just really fun to watch people cross the finish line.
Yeah.
And then I got to watch you cross, and like I didn't feel emotional myself crossing. It was more just like a whoa, what just happened thing. And then I watched you come across the finish line, and I was emotional in that moment because I was like, oh my gosh, we did it. We did it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, though. I crossed the finish line, I got stuck, and then I like started walking. I mean, I got stuck by the person cutting off my... Okay. So anyways, I start walking, and then the lady that I got lost with, and I knew it was her because she had these awesome bright pink socks that were like knee high.
Yeah.
She stopped me, and she was, good job. We did it. Crazy. We got lost. And then she was like, can I get a picture with you? Just because this is a really funny memory. So I was still kind of in a daze. Like I had literally just finished like 30 seconds prior, Like, sure. So we took a picture. And then afterwards, after my mind calmed down, I was like, oh, I should have asked for a picture on my phone too. Or just like, can you send it to me really quick? Because I was like, well, now she's gone. And I kept looking around for the lady with the awesome knee-high socks, but she left pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I noticed, I don't know if it's a thing, especially with like trail running, but a lot of people had like higher socks, like knee high. I wore my taller ones just because, but they weren't that tall, but I loved it.
Yeah.
So
on your wish list?
Yes. Like, so, but I need to find out, like, is there a good brand? Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If anybody's out there and you have a brand, let us know.
What you like.
I realize I kick rocks into my socks somehow. They end up in my socks.
Yeah.
So tall socks would be very beneficial for more trail type roads.
Yeah. And yeah, if you don't have a pair, because we're going to be running on that road that grab for the Tails on Trails.
Oh, should we go shopping?
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. We might need that.
Yeah.
But then I think about if I do that all the time, we've said it before, we're going to have really, really weird tan lines.
It's just going to be from here to here.
Yeah, my upper thigh will have a little bit of color and that's it. Oh, well, worth it. Yeah. So afterwards, though, I went for potato chips. That's what I was craving after the finish line.
Yeah.
And what did you go for?
A Coke. Well, I like when we go out for our food. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's just like the sugar, the bubbliness, or the caffeine. I don't know, but I
just crave it.
Yeah. Because we don't usually keep soda in the house.
Yeah, neither do we.
You know, I mean, so, yeah, I like a Coke after a big run. And so, yeah, I saw people with soda and was like, oh my gosh, like, great, because I almost brought one with us and didn't. And so went up, got my banana, my free banana.
Yep.
And then didn't see any directly, but then just so happened to look beyond the table and there was like a case. Yeah. So I was like, hey, can I grab one of those Cokes? And she was like, yeah, like over here.
In the cooler.
So then I open up the cooler and there's just Sprites in there.
Yeah.
And which would have been fine if there wasn't Coke.
Great, but you saw it.
Yeah. So then I was just like, yeah, like, can I get a Coke? Like, I'm really sorry. But like, she's like, yeah, in the cooler. And it was like, no, I know. But it's empty.
I know. And you had just crossed. So like, again, your mind isn't like processing.
Yeah. So again, I'm like,
how to
but
explain
can I get one of those? Please, can you just hand me a can of Coke? And they were kind of explaining to someone else that some of the volunteers had to go off to do something. So it was kind of just her manning this tent. So it's like, I get it. But so they were kind of bringing them over to fill it. And it was kind of one of those things where it's like, I felt like they were dangling it in front of me.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
forward, backwards.
Please just hand me one. And then I feel like this lady finished way ahead of me. She seemed very... not like I just finished.
She was refreshed a little bit. Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, can I help you fill that cooler? And I just felt like an idiot.
I know, but there is something like right as you finish, like you're coming off of this high. Yeah. Your brain probably needs some glucose at that point. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. So finally got my Coke. Yeah. So, and then it was just, after you're like, oh my gosh, everything's done. And it was like, I really have to pee.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. And my hip flexors, too, at that point were so freaking sore. Everything else felt pretty good. It was just like my hips were so tight. So you're like, I gotta pee. And I'm like, well, I've got to stretch my hips.
Yeah. So you're down there like squatting in front of the porta potty.
Not peeing.
I go in to use it. And like, not surprising because it's a very busy place. But of course... I'm ready for toilet paper. There's no toilet paper. Yeah. And I just do not care at this point. And I open the door to ask you to get me some toilet paper just as a gentleman was walking by.
It couldn't have been better timing.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah, you're welcome, stranger gentleman, for that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
but
you
I don't
some
think you
toilet
could
paper.
see anything.
No, I just saw you squatting there and your little cute face popped out and asked for some toilet paper. It was great.
So.
Yeah. I was so freaking cold afterwards, though. I was fine during the race. Like, I wore gloves at the beginning of the race, and then, like, around mile 4 or 5, I felt warm enough I could take my gloves off. And felt really good through the whole run. And then as soon as I stopped, my hands were so cold, like full-blown Raynaud's hands, like white, pale, cold. Like, I was trying to, like, text John and my mom, like, I'm done, and I could barely use my fingers, and I couldn't hold anything. And so I remember, like, I just wanted to get warm, but I didn't want you to feel like you couldn't walk around and stretch or whatever. But I was thinking I needed one of those like tinfoil blankets. At what point do you get those? Or I just needed dry clothes and a heater.
Yeah.
But I don't think I warmed up until, I don't know, it took like probably an hour or two before my hands went back to normal.
Yeah.
It was cold. And the rest of the race was, or like the day and everything was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. So, yeah, headed back to camp once we kind of felt cooled down.
Warmed up.
Ready to sit in the car.
Yeah.
But yeah, headed back to camp and hung out. It was actually kind of nice to get there and decompress even a little bit more because the boys went and explored.
Yep.
So it was actually kind of nice to get back and be like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
that just happened.
Yeah.
How do I feel?
Changed. Yeah, just, but I mean, I wish there was like some kind of camera I could watch myself get out of the Jeep.
Oh my gosh.
Just that 30-minute drive, getting out of the Jeep and then walking up the stairs into the fifth wheel because it's like 3 or 4 steps. I mean, I had to take it like one at a time, like where you step up and then bring your feet together. Yeah. Like I was not walking like a normal human. No,
neither of us were. And I was looking around to see if anybody was watching us because I wanted to be like we had our medals on too. It's okay, you know. Yeah. I'm just walking like this because I just finished a half marathon. It's fine. Yeah. So, yeah. But nobody asked. Yeah. And I don't think anybody saw. Yeah. Why didn't they ask? I totally would have told them about it. I know. Oh, and you know what else I thought about though? Is remember the announcer lady I was telling you was like, excuse me, if you have a vehicle parked in XYZ, you need to move it now or whatever runner is associated with that vehicle will be disqualified.
Oh my God.
Because it was such like a, I mean, they have to have permits to use the land, and you can only park in certain areas. Yeah. But clearly the parking lot filled up as the morning went on because there was also, there was the marathon, there was an ultra, there was a half marathon, and there was a 15K. So lots of people ended up coming after us as well. Yeah. The parking lot was completely full. And there were 5 vehicles that were parked where they were not supposed to park. And, like, they were going down and, like, looking into the windshield and, like, describing all the different stickers and the things they could see inside because they were like, your runner will be disqualified.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine you're running, like, an ultra?
No.
And get done and they're like, so...
Yeah.
Your husband didn't move his car.
Oh,
or like,
my gosh.
I'm
that grounds for divorce?
Yeah, seriously. Or even if, I mean, I would just feel so, if I had parked there, you know what I mean? And then got disqualified.
Oh my gosh. I don't think anybody ended up getting disqualified. I think they got everybody to move their vehicle.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I remembered that. Yeah. Part about the race that like stood out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But after we decompressed, we were totally ready for food.
And you were ready this time.
I was ready. Yeah. I honestly think I might have been sick from the incline. That was just a weird thing. I don't know. Or maybe, who knows? But I ran 13 miles this time and like had an appetite. I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But Jesse was like, let's get barbecue.
Yeah.
I'm like, fine. My brain can't make decisions at this point.
I know. So. I would have eaten anything from anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, no, a really good barbecue place. My pulled pork was really good.
Yep.
You had Redemption Burger.
I had Redemption Burger and fries, and I ate every last piece of it. It was so good. So worth it.
Yeah.
And that place, I mean, it was pretty good. What was it called? Like the Blue Pig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like a barbecue / blues.
Yeah.
Blues music.
And honestly, I really wasn't taking anything in. I was just like, I need food. I didn't pay attention to like the blues part. You told me about it later and I was like, oh, I guess so.
Yeah. I know, because it's like, it's a very specific name that it must be bluesy at night or on the weekends or something. Because, you know, in the daylight, it just was like, they're just blue pigs everywhere. Yeah. I kind of don't get it. Especially when you think barbecue, hot, spicy, but blue, what's going on here? And then I remember above our booth, there was like a poster of like a jazz blues band. And yeah, same thing at the time. It was just kind of like, what?
Yeah. What is
Who
this?
are these people? What is happening? And then it was like, oh.
You put the pieces
dots
together.
Connected, yeah.
Yeah, but then afterwards we were like, okay, we've got time. We're going to explore Moab. But can I just say driving in Moab in and of itself was an experience?
Yes.
Like,
you can.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. Because that was crazy. I remember thinking, is there a parade that's going on today too?
Seriously. Well, the night before we assumed it was a car show.
Yeah.
Remember, like, all the old or souped up cars, and we were like, obviously a car show.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
Yeah, like, oh, cool. And then, yeah, the next day it was just like, okay.
These cars are still driving around.
Yeah, and people are setting up chairs, like, marking off spots.
On the highway.
Yeah.
We're used to, like, people setting up chairs in our downtown, like,
Yeah.
on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
No.
That's how I explained it to somebody, was like, because I was like, Moab is a very, like, interesting town. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
But, like, think of our downtown, like, you know, for Slide, it's like F Street, but think of it on Rainbow Boulevard.
Yeah, on the highway.
Yeah, so it's a commuter highway. There's semis going through. It's how people get through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that whole town. And people are setting up lawn chairs. They have trucks with flatbed trailers behind it, and they're setting their chairs on the flatbed trailers. Like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of put it together that this must just be what you do in Moab.
Yeah.
If you have a fancy car, you drag it up and down the highway, rev your engine.
Yeah.
If you're a local, it seemed like locals even.
Yeah.
You just set up on the highway and that's what you do. You watch cars go by.
Yeah.
Along with like semis and regular cars like us. Okay.
Yeah. And all like the side-by-sides and
Yeah. And you know what I thought? If the Cars movie was in real life, it would be in Moab. Like, was it based off of Moab? Because it kind of, even the scenery kind of felt Carsy.
It could have been.
Yeah. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much traffic, but it was fun to watch. But yeah, so we like drove back through Moab to go back to our campsite because we weren't sure like quite what we were going to do yet. And there was a hot tub at the RV park where we were.
Yeah.
And our muscles.
I feel like me and you were a little bit like, let's get through lunch to get to that hot tub.
Please.
What do I need to do to get in that hot tub?
Yeah. I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
Too. It felt really good. And it was like warm, not windy. You would have thought it was freezing cold, honestly, by how much cloud cover there was.
Yeah.
But it was a perfect environment to hot tub in.
Yeah.
Felt good. Jack was so cute. He had his goggles and like the cold end of the pool though would have been too cold to be in. So he was like doing all of his tricks in the little hot tub.
I know. Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't too busy in there because we were kind of like, okay, this is fine, but like,
if anybody comes, you have to stop splashing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of like, watch what I can do. And it doesn't help that they just got done with swim lessons. So it's like, watch me glide, watch my dog paddle, watch my...
all of this.
Yeah.
And we're like trying to come to reality at that point. Yeah. But then maybe the next highlight of the trip.
Yeah.
We went jeeping.
Yes.
Have to if you're in Moab, apparently.
Yeah. Seriously. How was it, Amber?
I was scared. I just don't love it. I have a phobia of like cars in not safe environments. Like it scares me.
Yeah.
These Jeeps, not that our Jeep went vertical, but like in my mind we were going vertical.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go up these steep rocks and then flip back.
Right.
And apparently what we did was nowhere close to that, but it felt like it, okay?
Yeah. No, it did. No, I agree with you. But also, like, it doesn't help when you've seen the videos.
Yeah.
And you know, blah, blah, blah. Because you're just like, oh my God, this is how it happens.
Yeah, it felt that way.
Yeah.
I know. And then Jesse's like, would you feel better about it if you were the one driving? Like, hell no, I would not feel better. I would not move. I would just be on the brake.
Yeah.
But you were like, hey.
Yeah.
I'm going to drive.
One little downhill thing. I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, this
Let's not
This
call that
one.
little. Do not discredit yourself. That was
But
badass.
compared to everything else we were doing,
Well,
one, I don't think I could have done the uphill ones.
Okay, yeah.
Because those seemed like a little intense. But yeah, sitting on the brake and going down seemed okay.
Yeah. And some of them were intense. And I think what didn't help my mindset was the people in front of us. They had a guy that would get out and then guide the other people. So I'm like, okay, this is bad enough that you have to have somebody outside the vehicle to see where you're going.
Yeah.
I too will get outside, not to help guide you, but just so I'm not in the vehicle if it rolls.
Yeah.
But I got some cool videos for you guys. So
that was nice.
Yeah, the pictures turned out really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was like a nice, it was long enough, but quick enough.
Yeah.
It was a good little, you know, to get that done and kind of out, and we did it.
Yeah.
Now let's go get some ice cream.
Exactly. I feel like Jesse could have jeeped longer.
Oh, yeah.
I kept thinking like, oh, good, we're done. And then he'd be like, well, we're just going to go up. Well, we're just going to go up this way. A little bit more this way. And I'm thinking, what's the end game?
Yeah.
But no, it was good. It was long enough. We can say we did it. I have a feeling you guys are going to go back.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll stay at the hot tub.
Okay. I can go play giant chess with Jack.
Yeah, that was fun too. Yeah. But yeah, we definitely were like, let's go get some ice cream. Yeah. Walk up and down Moab.
Like the locals.
Yeah, let's
go watch the cars cruise.
Yeah. It smelled, though, heavily of
like exhaust or whatever.
Yeah. So I don't know how people do that all the time, but it was fun to walk up and down the streets. We went to a few different shops. Mm-hmm. Got some ice cream.
Yeah. Found that cool food truck park.
Yeah. They had like any type of food you could have wanted in this awesome circle area of food trucks and like a turf area with covered seating. It was a fun vibe.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been hungrier.
I know. I would have had like seconds.
Absolutely.
Lunch or early dinner or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, we stopped at a bookstore.
Yes.
And I bought a book.
You did, yeah.
I'm so close to being done with it.
Nice.
I know you would be proud of me to read a book this fast, but it's so good. Lessons in Chemistry.
Okay.
If you don't already have like a giant book, you probably do. I'll pass it on to you.
Okay.
You'll love it.
Okay.
So good. So, anyways.
Nice.
Yeah. And then at the end, though, you gave me this sweet little calendar.
I know. I put it in my bag and I was like, give it to her the morning. Like I had, to give it to you before, and then I forgot.
Well, it was a nice thing afterwards.
Okay.
And it says, anything is possible when you have the right people there to support you. Aw, so thanks for supporting me.
But, because it's for the day of our half. So
yes.
It was good.
It's perfect. Like, there couldn't have been a more fitting quote.
Yeah.
So, that was just a nice little cap to the end of our trip. Yeah. Are we doing it again next year?
I think it'd be fun.
Like, you want to do the half again? Like, same course, same...
I mean, I feel like in this moment, I'm good with like a half... You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We'll see when we get closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying let's do a marathon trail run. I just didn't know if you wanted to do like that exact same one. But there's plenty of time to discuss.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
But...
What? What?
So, what is coming up? The Fib Arc.
The Fib Arc.
Right? So, Fib Arc's coming up.
Yeah.
The first race you did. Official race.
Yeah. We're coming up on a year. What, girlfriend?
I'm really debating. I'm pretty much set. Like, I'm 98% sure.
Yeah.
I'm signing up for the Triple Crown.
What? What's that? What is that?
It is the hill climb on Thursday.
Oh.
The 10... The 10K road on Saturday and the 10K trail on Sunday.
Are you really?
You get an insane discount for signing up all three. They call it the Triple Crown.
Oh, wow. Do you get like something extra if you do it besides a discount?
I don't know. But like I got the email, of course. Like I don't know if you've gotten it yet, but like the email that's like, hey, like
registration's open.
Registration's open. Yeah, blah blah blah, and it gives all the races and all the options, and then it was like Triple Crown, and I just felt like I've done this insane trail run in Moab. What's a hill climb?
All right, that's a good perspective, but I mean, you've seen. I guess we don't have to be the 17-minute person that finishes.
No,
because the downhill is what scares me.
I know
because of like the slippage. Mm-hmm. I'll think about it. I'll do the 10K road race and the 10K trail with you. That sounds fantastic.
Okay.
The hill is going to be what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling you because you have to sign up.
Well, I know, but you just are always like dangling this little carrot in front of me. Maybe like more like a cupcake or something, and it ends up being so tempting. I'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Triple Crown.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to say that I've done it.
I mean, I guess as a local.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Our name will be in the paper.
There you go.
Yeah.
Goodness. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
For
Fast facts. Spirit fingers this time.
Oh.
Look at that. Fast facts. It's nice. The matcha tea kicking in. I'm feeling energized.
Good. Because now you have to answer some questions.
Okay.
What is the oldest piece of tech you've ever used?
Well, like, I think about my super old, like, kind of flip phones from, like, probably the early 2000s. But, like, I also remember dinking around on my grandparents' typewriter that they had in their basement. I mean, is that tech, like a typewriter?
I mean, I guess. But...
I didn't write a paper on it.
Okay. Yeah. Something in your everyday life. I always think of like floppy disks.
Oh my gosh. I haven't thought of floppy disks in forever.
I know, but like remember it was on your school list?
Yeah.
You had to have like a floppy disk.
You did.
Yeah.
Yep, and like keep track of it. And like some kids would have it in their backpack and like theirs would always break or like fall apart, you know, those heathen type students.
They just throw their shit around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're like breakable, but you had to have them.
Yeah.
It was a big deal when you got to use the USB.
Oh.
You know, like the keychain USB. Floppy disk.
Yeah.
Old.
Old.
We're old. Oh my gosh.
All right, Amber, you have a week to live.
Oh no.
Oh no. What is the stupidest thing you would do?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would like to say, like, I'm going to drain my bank account, but that really wouldn't get me that far.
Your bank account's like to your backyard?
Yeah.
Because...
Where are you going?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd want to do something, like, daring, maybe. Like, maybe I'd go skinny dipping or something.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
And that's free.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have some free, crazy fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you doing?
Well, one, I mean, I love where I work, but I just feel like I would tell a lot of people off.
Oh, but then with your luck, the doctor would be like, I'm sorry. We switched the results.
I read, the wrong file. You're living forever now.
Like,
damn it. Yeah. Okay, so for sure, I'm on my way out. Maybe I'm making some phone calls.
Okay.
The first day.
Yeah.
But I also think my last week might involve like a lot of food. You know, like
just indulging.
Yeah.
Calories don't matter now.
Seriously. But yeah, so just, I mean, finding like that expensive spot or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
I'll join
you. I mean,
you.
not that that's stupid, but.
Okay. I'll join you, but you're paying.
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. It is the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I know. You were just dying. Now it's the zombie apocalypse. But what are you grabbing from your home to protect yourself? And I'll say, because both our husbands hunt and stuff, you can't use, like, guns.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'd be like, well, that's easy. It's just like zombie. What's that movie? Zombieland or zombie? Yeah. Like, ready to go. Okay, no weapons. Something from my house. Maybe like my cast iron pan.
Okay. Heavy, but okay.
I would have to get close to them, but I don't know. I'm like, that's the only like big thing I could use. Yeah. I don't know. What are you grabbing?
I mean, we have a lot of lawn tool stuff in the garden, you know, so maybe something
like a lawnmower, like a weed whacker.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that movie? I know you haven't, so let me just go on. But
bring me to speed.
Yeah, it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Nope. You know me. What's it about?
But it's Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
And it's kind of a retelling of the Manson family.
Oh my gosh.
When they go to murder Sharon Tate.
Whew.
But they end up at the wrong house. And one of the people gets taken out by this actor who has a flamethrower that he used in a part, like in a movie.
Okay.
But he takes out one of these killers with like a flamethrower, but it's really funny because his neighbor's like really impressed. Like, you know, and he's like, yeah, it's from, you know. But yeah, it's funny. Anyway, that's what popped in my head.
Like, if I only had a flamethrower.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Besides nursing.
Okay.
Was there a career path that you considered outside of nursing?
Oh, well, I mean, when I finished high school, my thought was like, oh, pre-med, and I'm going to be a surgeon. Mm-hmm. So it was still like medical. But then I realized like doctors have to go to school forever, and I didn't want to do that. So chose nursing. So like really there was nothing else that I would have chosen then. Mm-hmm. But honestly, looking back, I would want to do like some sort of like detective work. But I would only do this, I think, if I was single and didn't have a family, but like living in a big pop-in busy city and being like Olivia Benson. Yeah. Is what I would do. Yeah. But I love being a nurse and having a family, so I'm cool with that.
Oh, good.
Would you have chosen anything else? Dentistry has always been your thing?
No, but I didn't really have like a thing. Like, I fell into dentistry, and I'm glad that I did. But in high school, it was, like, a different thing every month. Okay. Like, I didn't have, like, a set passion. It was, you know. Yeah. Yeah. So what would you, or you just, is there anything now that you're like, if I had to redo everything, I would totally do this? Yeah, besides dental hygiene that I'm now in school for.
Well, yeah, you're redoing everything for.
But I think, looking back, if I could get into something like young and know what I wanted to do, I think like an x-ray technician would be cool, or like an anesthesiologist. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I should have been an anesthesiologist, man. After you get through school. Yeah. Fairly easy and lots of money. Yeah. But I also like the idea of being like a beautician, doing like nails or something. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you'd be good at that. Because you're like a good people person. People would like to go to you. Thank you. Yeah. Last but not least. Okay. Maybe the most important. Oh, gosh. I'm ready. When you are making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Oh, okay. Does the peanut butter go on the top or the bottom? Like as you're making it? Sure. I mean, here's how I make a PBJ. Okay. Bread, peanut butter first. Yeah. Do you like smooth or crunchy? I like smooth. Me too. Really? Yeah. I used to be a crunchy person. Now I'm smooth. Now you're smooth. Yeah, I like smooth. John likes crunchy, but I do the grocery shopping, so we have smooth. But every now and then when we run out of peanut butter and he's like, he notices it. That's funny. He brings some crunchy and I'm like, I'll eat it, but yeah, it's not the same. It's not. Yeah. Anywho, smooth peanut butter on the bread, and then I put the jelly on top of the peanut butter. Like you spread it on the peanut butter? Yeah, I'll get the jar and like just kind of like scoop blobs onto the peanut butter. Yeah. Sometimes I'll put the
jelly on, what am I trying to say? Sometimes I'll put the jelly on the other piece of bread.
Yeah.
And then the jelly goes on top of the peanut butter.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just like put blobs on the peanut butter and then put the other bread on top. Okay. What do you do? Is there
a right way? There's a right way, but I do jelly on one bread, peanut butter on the other bread.
And then marry them.
But I think I always do the jelly on top of the peanut butter.
Yeah, me too. Which seems like a more daring choice because it's slippery. I was just
going to say, yeah.
You live on the edge.
Yeah. Do you do the same with honey?
Oh, no.
Honey sandwiches?
I drizzle the honey every time on the peanut butter.
Okay, me too. It doesn't go on the opposite bread.
No,
because it goes on the peanut butter.
Yeah, because otherwise it would saturate the bread too much.
Which is funny because I feel like it's doing that anyway. Yeah. But just in my head, it's like it's sticking to the peanut butter.
Yeah. You know what? John makes the boys peanut butter jelly sandwiches with honey, and they think that he's like the coolest sandwich maker.
Peanut butter jelly honey?
Yes. Oh. Actually, ask Jack about it. Ask Jack, what kind of peanut butter jelly sandwich does Uncle John make you? Uh-huh. And I bet you he'll say, oh, with honey. Huh. It's like, it's a thing. It's a cool thing with the boys. Okay. It's a lot of sugar on my teeth.
I was just going to say, it sounds very sweet. Right now, do your boys do they like any kind of jelly? Or do they get do they want a specific flavor?
Oh, no, they get what they get and they don't throw a fit.
Oh, that's nice. Mm-hmm.
Does Jack have a specific kind of jelly?
He likes grape.
Okay.
Yeah.
We usually have raspberry, preserves.
I like raspberry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's what they're used to. It's just because I prefer
they don't get a choice.
They don't get a choice. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, now I know. I'm going to be thinking about you the next time I make a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, well, to finish this episode out, I have a listener story from Angela who ran the Thelma and Louise half marathon with us.
Okay.
Did we say that at the beginning of the episode? Which half marathon we ran?
I mean, I think we've
said it enough.
I feel like we said it because we said it should have said trail in there.
Okay, you're right.
I feel like I mentioned Thelma and Louise.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about our bibs either. My bib said Louise.
Yes.
And your bib said Thelma.
Yes.
So that was fun that we had that together.
Yeah, we got to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to pay attention to see which one Angela chose. But she ran the Thelma and Louise half marathon with us, and she just so happens to be the lovely lady with the bright pink socks that got lost with me.
Well,
so she found me on Instagram.
Yeah. Angela, tell me what brand your socks are.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
We would love to know.
Yeah.
She's from New York City.
Fun.
So she flew out to Utah for this half.
Okay.
Anyways, yes. The sweet poor soul who decided to follow me when I have no sense of direction. If you haven't caught the Barkley Marathon episode where I talk about not being able to follow a very simple 6-mile map in town, go catch that episode and then, refer back to this one. Don't follow me in a race, ladies. Yeah. Don't do it. Anyways, we connected on Instagram. She sent me our picture, which makes me so, so happy that now I can have that too as part of my little memory of the race. But I asked her if she wanted to share her story just because I thought it would be perfect for this episode. So anyways, she said that she had a blast running the race and happy to share her story. She started running in 8th grade as a high jumper, and she says she wasn't very good at it, and she wasn't a sprinter, but she still loved to run and had her eye on cross country. And then she ran all summer before 9th grade, and cross country was like her season then. She did winter and spring track and completed the 1,500 meter, but her favorite distance was the 3.1 miles each fall. And then in college, she said she could have run the D2, but didn't, and she regrets that, but what can you do? Can't go back. And then she said, though, aside from family, running has been the constant in her life, and she leans on it for different reasons at different stages. More than anything, it helps keep her head clear and helps with anxiety. She's a running coach and a nutrition coach, and she's been running half marathons for a number of years. And she decided that for her 40th birthday, she wanted to run a marathon, just once famous last words. So she was supposed to run the New York City Marathon in 2020, and then surprise, surprise, COVID. That didn't happen. and she was deferred to 2022. But she fell in love with marathons, and from November 2022 to November 2023, she ran 5 of them.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah. She says, I don't recommend that at all as a coach. She knew it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but she was chasing goals, and she said she got out of hand with it, which is so easy to do. Like, you get off that high of a race and you're like, what do I want to do next?
Yeah.
What's next? But the other part was just accomplishing something new. So that 26.2 miles came at a time when her son was getting older, transitioning in life, and having, going from having a little kid to having a big kid. So her role at home was changing. And she found that those long runs really helped with that transition of like having an adult child. So she said, no surprise, though, after running that many races, she ended up with a hip injury and spent the first half of this year running half marathons and sitting out the 26.2 for the spring, which still running half marathons with a hip injury.
Yeah.
But that's what led her to the Moab desert. So in the past, she's been 100% road runner. She lives in New York City. They don't have trails in that part of the country like what, kind of out Midwest has. And she decided she needed to do something challenging, knew she wasn't up for a full marathon yet. Her husband had seen the Thelma and Louise race in Moab, and they were in Moab 2 years ago and loved it. So they decided to make a trip out to Salt Lake City and Moab. She ran the Salt Lake City half marathon on April 20th.
Okay.
And then our Thelma and Louise was April 27th. They flew back to New York City the night of the 27th. Okay. So that's why when I was like looking around for her pink socks to like take a picture on my phone, she was already gone. They were like, bye, gotta get to the airport, gotta fly back to New York City. Because the next day, Sunday the 28th, she ran the Real Simple Women's Half Marathon, which is also known as the Shape Half Marathon, which she runs most years. I mean, I could barely walk on Sunday, let alone be like, I'm going to go run 13 miles again.
Yeah, I was totally fine taking like a week off after the Thelma and Louise. Mm-hmm. So like, that's kudos.
Angela, you're incredible. So she said the Salt Lake City half marathon is pretty awesome, and she definitely recommends it. She had a great race and ran that one for time. And she did PR her over 40 half marathon time by 26 seconds in Salt Lake City, which was awesome. And then she said she had no idea the challenge ahead of her in Moab. She said, I'm going to read this verbatim because her story, it's you'll see. It's awesome. So she said, never ever did I have an experience like Thelma and Louise. I knew it was going to be out of my comfort zone, but wow. When I went to bib pick up, I was nervous. When I went to start the next day, I was really nervous. Sand and rocks, very different terrain to the northeast. I first thing realized that there was no way I could have a strategy because I did not know what I was doing. I ran 33 races last year, and there was not a single experience I could draw on that would help me in Moab. The goal was to have fun and finish. I started this race in my usual roadrunner way, which does not work in a race like this. I quickly pulled back and let the terrain be my guide. The downhills were rocky, and I was afraid I would slip. I found myself watching the ground a lot and realizing that I'm really green in this discipline, and somehow that made me relax. I don't know why, but at some point I realized I was in the middle of a very cool growth experience, and I just wanted to take it all in. I remember following a woman with a white hydration vest, and I remember thinking, I have a similar vest at home. I should have brought that one. Mine was bouncing around and digging in my neck. It was driving me crazy. My mind was wandering, and I was listening to music and really not paying attention to my surroundings at all, which you can get away with on a road race, of course, but least like the road races I've done, but not so much on a trail as an inexperienced trail runner. There was a fork in the path with 3 different paths, and I followed the woman with the white hydration pack in front of me. This woman was Amber. I guess we took the wrong path. I started wondering if we were going the wrong way. I cannot stress enough how I have 0 experience in running desert trails. Angela, me neither. But I cannot remember the succession of realization that we were going the wrong way. There was a runner behind me, and we realized we were all on the wrong road. The only sneaker prints in the sand were ours. We turned around and retraced our steps. I was so grateful that we were together. I would have totally been in a panic if I was alone. And I mean, same. I think I would have cried if I was alone. So I was grateful to have them with me too. But she said that was the bottom line lesson of this course and this experience for me. Before we took off, the race director said to read the signs and take care of each other. And we did that. In a minute of realizing we made a mistake, it was very natural to come together as a team, stay calm, and get back on track while staying positive. I love that we took that wrong turn. The symbolism of that moment, when you take a wrong turn and you have your community with you, you get back on track. We lived that on foot. It was not that long ago that women could not compete in running. Women have been racing for that long, and each generation continues to break barriers and raises the bar for the young girls that are behind us. Running Moab and running an extra 0.68 miles on sand, did I mention enough times about the sand? Made us better runners and made a challenging run more gratifying by the end. I remember thinking, let's get it done because we can, and feeling proud that I ran that extra distance. It was empowering to accomplish something like that and add a little extra adventure to it. I was talking to my family after the race, and I saw Amber, and we took a photo. It was a fun memory. We got lost, and we got out of it unscathed. She said running is one life lesson after the next. That is one reason so many of us keep going back to it. I've never ran anything like Thelma and Louise. We flew home that afternoon, got back to New York around 1:30 in the morning. She ran the Real Simple Half Marathon in New York City on Sunday, exhausted with only 4 hours of sleep and on very tired legs. It was 2 back-to-back races celebrating women. My New York City run friends were like, wait, what are you doing here? But then again, how many chances do we have to celebrate being strong, healthy women? So that was the perfect listener story to the end of this episode. So I know I'm going to remember this race day forever. And I'm honored that we got to run our first half marathon together.
Yeah, it was fun.
So fun. So if you have a running story, if you've gotten lost, if you found your way back with a stranger in the desert, and want to share, you can email us your running stories at runinhershoes@runsister.com or find us on Instagram. So, see you next week.
See you next week.
Okay. Thanks for listening to Run in Her Shoes. Run in Her Shoes podcast is produced and edited by Amber Linza and Robin Ogden. It's time to run, sister.